That's odd. He should be in this room. Oh, my name is Miller. I'm the one who scheduled this appointment. Thank you. As I explained over the phone, our director is offering you an exclusive contract for your services as a sniper. Your compensation will be a monthly salary of $1 million. Are you interested? In case this figure doesn't satisfy you, I have been authorized to increase the offer by 50%. How does $1.5 million per month sound? It goes without saying that this will be an official transaction. You will be required to sign a contract. And you will be an employee at one of the director's corporations.
How did you find me?
Let's just say, we found you through the director's intelligence network. Will you accept? We are, after all, offering a rather incredible guarantee for your line of work. According to our research, no one in your profession makes even a tenth of this amount.
Is that all?
Excuse me?
It's true that I only deal with one contact person for each job. But that doesn't mean that I want to be invested in just one customer.
Very well then. I will report your response to my director. However, let me warn you, he is not an easy man to dissuade, no matter how reluctant you may be. After all, we're talking about someone who has never been denied anything he wants.
I'd like $50,000 in cash.
I'll have to ask you to wait a moment, sir. I'm sorry, sir, but this card was cancelled as of yesterday.
What do you mean?
We don't have access to that kind of information. The main office that originally issued this card is responsible for its cancellation.
We are not allowed to validate this card. I'm sorry, but there's not much we can do for you, sir.
I want to talk to the manager.
The manager is not in right now.
Your account shows a balance of 0. Your card was cancelled 24 hours ago. Please don't attempt to use it.
The orders came from Switzerland. We aren't even allowed to make inquiries into their transactions. Not only on your account, but all your assets in various countries. Stocks, bonds, trust funds, gold, property, estates. 5 mountain retreats, 7 condominiums, all of these were frozen 24 hours ago.
Are there any circumstances under which this could happen, without the authorization of the client?
Well, let's see. If we are certain it's against our client's wishes, we would never touch a single cent in the account. Because it's Switzerland credit, our client's trust is absolutely essential. The only exception I can think of might be if the board of directors or parent company were to exercise their executive power for some reason. I'm terribly sorry, sir.
Take your time, sir. Just let me know when you're done. Mr. Togo, we're holding a phone call for you in the manager's office. Mr. Duke Togo is here. Show him in. Mr. Togo, your call.
Hello, Mr. Togo. Remember me? It's Cliff Miller. We refrained from emptying the contents of the safe deposit box. After all, without that cash, you won't be able to carry out your current assignment. My director no longer wishes to employ you as his exclusive assassin. He is more interested in having you as an equal partner. That is his last offer. Well, we believe this would be a mutually beneficial arrangement.
All done?
Do you know the caller?
No, I'm sorry to say a branch office manager like me cannot be allowed to even know the name of someone in his position.
No one, not even the American president, nor the Soviet chief secretary, has succeeded in making an enemy out of the director.
So you're saying he will not acquiesce?
I'm sorry, sir.
If I don't get him now, eventually he will come after me. I cannot afford to die. If I am to accomplish my family's grand scheme for world domination, until my monopoly empire brings world peace, I simply will not die.
Absolutely, sir.
Now, let's see how I could get him.
want you to kill the Jewish mafia boss Sharim Gideon. I despise him. Cutting him into pieces is too good for him, but he is a devout Jew. Send him off to the next world after his early morning prayers. Please, come in. Here's your payment of $100,000 for the Sharim Gideon job. I must say your sudden request for cash, instead of the usual deposit into your Swiss bank account, turned out to create quite an ordeal for me. I had to scramble to gather this amount of cash. My accounts, including my secret ones, were all frozen almost immediately after I received your request. It looks like some formidable figure is after you. I believe it's David Carlyle, head of the world's largest family combine, the Carlyle family. Let me warn you, even you don't want him as an enemy. I'm certain it's him. You should go into hiding. David Carlyle is the only man capable of ordering a complete freeze on my assets, worth over $100 million. No one in Europe has that kind of power.
My secret accounts were also frozen. I wonder why he didn't tamper with the cash I used to do the job. I wouldn't have been able to carry out my assignment otherwise.
So that's what's going on. Carlyle wants to own you. This was just to display his power. If he wanted to, he wouldn't have given you any leeway. So that's what's going on.
You said there's no one in Europe equal to Carlyle. But what about the Empire of Rothschild? I thought the Rothschilds succeeded in dominating the entire European continent 200 years ago.
They've given way to Carlyle. The EC and the rest of Europe is being divvied up between the two families, but Carlyle's calling the shots. The Carlyle estate is reputed to be worth $600 billion. Of course, it's common knowledge that the actual amount would have to be far more than 100 times that amount. He owns 6 out of 10 major U.S. firms, 6 out of 10 major stock companies, 6 out of 10 major banks. GM, Ford, Chrysler, GE, IBM, Exxon, Texaco, Standard Oil, U.S. Steel, Prudential, First National City Bank, Chase Manhattan Bank, and so on. Over 1,000 multinational corporations are in turn owned by these major corporations. In other words, Carlyle owns almost all the most powerful corporations in the world. Do you see now, Mr. Togo? To make Carlyle your enemy is tantamount to making an enemy out of the world. Listen to me. Don't antagonize Carlyle. As you can tell from last year's IBM spy incident, Carlyle has managed to move in on Japan, the last superpower beyond his reach. Using the U.S. Department of Justice and the FBI at will, he's gaining control over there. It's a historical fact that the Carlyles supplied the Red Army with an immense amount of money. Which proves that the present Soviet government was already under Carlyle's control from the very moment it came into existence. It's not that long ago that he got rid of his arch nemesis, Nixon, the Watergate scandal.
So you're saying that this Carlyle has got the US, the Communist Bloc, the EC, the Middle East, and Japan at his fingertips, has no opponents left in the world?
Quite the contrary. As I said before, the only one who continues to pose a threat to Carlyle is you, GOLGO 13. In order to accomplish his grand scheme for world domination, his general policy is to force his opponents into submission. But if that doesn't prove effective, he tries to win them over by courting them as partners. Hold on. There's one opponent Carlyle can't touch.
Which is?
China.
Didn't Carlyle himself visit Beijing several times? I thought he was providing the Chinese military with an immense supply of trucks. Isn't that true?
It's true that he has good relations with the Beijing government, but the real power of the Chinese resides not with those who live on the mainland, but with those who live overseas. It's quite clear that it's the overseas Chinese more than the Beijing government that Carlyle is worried about. Taiwan, Singapore, and Hong Kong were owned from the very beginning by the overseas Chinese. But now, the Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Burma, and Thailand are all also virtually under their economic grip. Carlyle has already been maneuvering against them, but things aren't going so smoothly. even Carlyle is having trouble dealing with the overseas Chinese. As opposed to the Russians and the Japanese who have managed to assimilate Western culture, overseas Chinese refuse to give up their unique customs and traditions no matter where they are. Like you, they pose a threat to Carlyle. The elder of the Huang family, Wang Jian, is the head of these non-mainland Chinese. I haven't heard anything about him recently, but I do know that he is the leader of tens of millions of overseas Chinese.
Huang Jian's son.
I'm gonna say it again. Don't make Carlyle your enemy.
Mr. Duke Togo! It is a pleasure to see you.
Dao Zechan.
I have orders from Master Wang to pick you up. Please. I am glad to see that you are in good health as always.
How did you know I was coming?
You know how powerful Master Wang is. He can obtain a list of every single person who has arrived at the Taipei airport within 10 minutes. Actually, for the past 2 weeks, Master Huang has been looking for you.
For me?
This time we were stumped. Even though Huang's intelligence network conducted a full-scale search, we could not locate you. We had just about given up when you showed up. I am delighted that you came. Master Huang has been bedridden. Doctor doesn't sound very optimistic about his condition. Master Huang is looking forward to seeing you. Mr. Togo has arrived.
So, you've come to us.
I'm sorry. How could I forget? It's your policy never to offer your right hand. I am delighted that you came. As you can see, my days are numbered. Before departing for the other world, I wanted to speak with you. The overseas Chinese have a 3,000-year tradition, yet we are in grave danger. Had our opponent been using military strategies against us, we would have known how to evade his weapons. But I have discovered we are defenseless when our own strategic forte of financial takeover is utilized by our opponent.
You mean Carlyle?
How did you know? Of course, someone like you would surely have known. When the Japanese launched their economic offensive, they were strictly driven by profit motive, so we could afford to make deals with them. But the Caucasian races are different. They want control, not only over profit, but more importantly, over entire nations. Carlyle is very close to accomplishing his plan for world domination. Now he is attempting to throw into the tempestuous Pacific his final nemesis, the overseas Chinese. The Beijing government has shaken hands with Carlyle, but the overseas Chinese based in Taipei, Singapore, and Hong Kong are putting up a fight against Carlyle's siege. It is a well-known fact that Carlyle was behind England's decision to return Hong Kong to mainland China, which means that the fallen English Empire has only been replaced by Carlyle's empire as the owner of Hong Kong. We alone simply cannot compete with Carlyle now. We need your help. We need your help. Of course, even if you take care of David Carlyle, that won't stop the Carlyle family from advancing into the Far East. I'm fully aware of that. But at least I won't have to see their shadow loom over us for another year, by which time I shall be dead. Please, Mr. Togo, will you erase this shadow for me?
What? You're telling me that GOLGO 13 is planning to assassinate me?
At the request of the overseas Chinese, the order must have come from Jian, the elder of the Huang family.
Damn it! He's found a way out! I should have gotten rid of him sooner.
What shall we do, sir? We have no time to lose, now that he is after you.
Now stop talking nonsense! There's no way to stop him now!
Wait a moment. I do have one last resort. One way to stop GOLGO 13.
This man.
This man might be able
To stop him.
Let's tug up. This is the White House. Could you hold for a moment, please?
Do you know who this is, Mr. Togo?
I received a call from a friend of mine this morning. He told me that he would like you to cancel your plans immediately. Now, I don't think I have to explain who this friend is or what your plans are. I want you to stop your car and turn around. You are to leave Switzerland within 3 hours. If you do not comply, you should be fully aware that you will be making enemies out of both the free world and the communist bloc.
You will do as I say, won't you, Mr. Togo? Honoring this request will also preserve our congenial relationship.
Now, let's see what he does.
I wonder if he was able to reach GOLGO 13. We'll be able to handle this somehow, provided he talked to GOLGO 13. But if he wasn't able to get in touch with him...
All we can do now is wait and see.
Well, this car is built like a tank. We're safe as long as we're inside it. The mountain retreat, on the other hand, might be dangerous.
Enough! I said all we can do now is wait and see, didn't I?
I thought, just in case.
Yes. Is that so? Really?
So you did. You were able to reach him. Why, of course. Yes, that's exactly what I needed. Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, what a relief.
He must have been surprised to get direct warning from such a formidable figure.
Most certainly, sir. I would not have trusted my ears.
Come, come. You're standing in front of the man who is about to own the world.
Of course, sir. I've been working for the man who essentially rules the world already. Working so closely with you, I forget what influence you have.
Good work, Miller. Let's have a toast.
Thank you, sir.
Now I have to concoct another scheme to own GOLGO 13. One that will be absolutely foolproof. Beautiful. What an incredible view of the forest and lake.
Absolutely, sir. The shimmering moonlight. It's a spectacular sight.
Mr. President!
David Carlisle has been killed?
How did you know?
My warning didn't mean a thing to GOLGO 13. Whether you're the President of the United States or the Chief Secretary of the USSR, or a homeless drunk sleeping on the street, makes no difference to GOLGO 13. Let's see. The question is, what shall I do to him now? He did, after all, ignore my orders. But, unfortunately, as the President of the United States, I still need GOLGO 13. The Carlyles versus GOLGO 13. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens next.